Now, the first thing we need to do is, let us say if we can define a search formulation for CSPs. Okay. If I have to solve this problem using search, systematic search, what will be my search space? What will be a state in the search space? Assignment to all the variables. Now, if I always say assignment to all the variables, am I talking systematic search or local search? Local search. Remember, this is a difference we studied earlier. When I usually solve the problem with local search, I move in the solution space. But when I am using systematic search, I typically do partial assignment space. That's typically what I do. So, I will work in the partial assignment space. In the partial assignment space, my initial state would be no assignment whatsoever. My initial state would be I have not assigned any variable whatsoever. What will be my successor function? Let us say I have already assigned L variables. What will I do? I will have to assign some other variable. How many options do I have? N minus L options. For each variable, how many possible values do I have? D values. So, how many children do I have? N minus L into D children. Simple stuff, makes sense? And all the solutions are at which depth? All the solutions, final solutions are at which depth? N depth, when all the variables have been assigned. Because all the solutions are at a fixed depth, I can sort of use depth first search. There is no infinite search tree here. Here is the difficult question. How many leaves do I have? In this way that I have defined the problem. How many children at the top level? N into D. How many children at the second level? N minus 1 into D. How many children at the next level? N minus 2 into D. And all these trees they keep multiplying, because for every parent I have these many children, and so on and so forth. So, how many total leaves? N factorial D to the power N. How many total assignments in my problem? D to the power N. What is going on? Okay, let us take a second, think about it. Something is going on, we are not doing something right. So, first let me just revise what we discussed. Let us start with a straightforward dumb approach. We'll then fix it, of course, right. States are defined by partial assignments. Initial state is the empty assignment. Successor function is assign a value to an unassigned variable that does not conflict with the current assignment. Okay. Yes, it is a constraint satisfaction problem. So, at every time we assign a value, let us not assign a value where we have in conflict with the previously assigned values. So, then at some point if I cannot assign a variable a value, then I backtrack. Goal test is current assignment is complete. If it is complete, all the constraints would be naturally satisfied, because we are checking for constraints at every step. This algorithm is going to be same for all CSPs, irrespective of whether the variable means the location of a tile, position of a student, or what the timing of a class, whatever it is. Every solution will appear at depth n. So, you will have depth first search, which is a good algorithm. However, we will have n factorial d to the power n leaves, where there are only d to the power n possible assignments. What am I doing wrong? Why am I creating more leaves than the number of states? Why do we have more states? Yes, what's your name? Purva, yes, Purva.
So, if we take an example that we have two variables A and B, so if we assign A something and then B something, and we do the same assignment by doing B first and then A, then we are meeting.
Very good, very good. In search, each state represents the exact path we took to reach there. We know this, right? We have done this in even uninformed search. Now, here is the path important. Who cares whether I assign x1 true and x2 false first, or I assign x2 false and x1 true in a different order? It does not matter. It is the same state at the end of the day, but it will be a different path, because first we will be assigning x1 and then x2, in the other alternative we will be first assigning x2 and then x1. And therefore, we will be creating not only all the state positions, but for each position we will look at each permutation of which specific order we assign them. But who cares for the specific order? We do not want this n factorial there. How do we fix it? Go in order of variables, says. Always assign x1 first and x2 second. Will this work? It will work. Will it be a good idea? Because now I am not even thinking about what is the right order to assign these variables, I have just fixed this order. I do not quite want that. I do not want to have a global order particularly, but I can still do something locally, a small change to what Arsh suggested. Somebody at a given partial node, pick one variable. Do not look at all variables, pick one best variable wherever this best comes from. You do not have a global best. You are at a place where x1, x2, x3 have been assigned, then you say, okay, I can assign x4, I can assign x5, I can assign x6, let me assign x6 now. So, at every point we think about which is the best variable to assign, and then I look at all its values. When I do this, I will still get d to the power n leaves, which will solve my problem, and this particular algorithm is called backtracking search. I know depth first search backtracks, it is a depth first search algorithm, but the name backtracking search specifically refers to those depth first search solutions where at every node we only look at single variable assignments. Which single variable we look at may change in different nodes, but at every point we only look at single variable assignments. So, at the top we will pick some variable and then we will have d children. At the at any next level we will, at lth level I will look at, I will pick one variable and then only have d children. Okay. So, this gives me d to the n leaves, which is what I wanted, and this solution alone, believe it or not, can solve n queens for n equal to 25. We will also do solutions which can solve n queens for n equal to 1000. So, there is more to come, or even 10,000, and they will be different solutions, right, hopefully. So, this is called backtracking search. You are basically going to do depth first search, at every point pick a variable and then assign values, and then check if constraints are satisfied, if so keep moving, and eventually if they are not, backtrack, and then eventually find a solution that works for everything. This is called backtracking search. Now, and this is the algorithm, you can read the algorithm, I will just flash it on the screen. Basically you say select a variable v, and then for each value assign it, check for whether it satisfies all constraints or not. Now, here is the question I want you to think about. I have given a general purpose algorithm here. What tricks of the trade I can bring in to make it even faster in practice? What are my levers? What are my buttons? What are my knobs? What can I change? At any point, what can I do differently to give me a better or worse algorithm? Can you think about it? The way you select the variable, what's your name? Divyanshu. Divyanshu says, well, I have an option, which variable do I select first? Maybe there is some intelligence in which variable do I try first. Another thing. Which value do I try first? What's your name? Kamal. Kamal says, which value do I try first? Not only the variable, but which value? I want to try the variable with hopefully gives me a solution first or quickly, right? I don't have to backtrack. Now, these two were simple ideas. there are two other ideas that we will study. And one idea is, can I detect failures early? Can I say that, oh, I have done some assignment, even though there is no constraint violation right now, 5 steps down the line I will get a constraint violation, so don't go 5 steps further. That is the most important magic in constraint satisfaction, okay, and we will talk about that. And then lastly, can we take advantage of the problem structure. So, next class we will start exactly from here. Thank you very much.